Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Mark's NOTCAST. As some of you will know, it is now the 21st of October 2020. Yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the death of my mother, and I'm not saying that to get sympathy. I did think about talking about that, but I didn't think anyone was going to be particularly interested in it. I didn't think it would be particularly enjoyable. And to be honest, sitting on the couch or the sofa, as we say in Britain, and eating sweets seemed like a far better idea. Today, going to talk about this beastie, which is the Beautiful Ones, the best of Suede, which is now available in a 4 CD book pack box set type thing, and also an expansive 6 LP version. There's also a double album version with I think all the singles in order, or near enough all the singles, and there's a double CD which has most of their songs arranged in a chronological fashion. So I'm going to talk about this, which is the third best of that Suede have released, and bring you up to speed with what's happened in the meantime. In 2003 they released Singles, which was then promptly followed by the band splitting up for about 6.5 years. And then in 2010, when the band reformed to play the show at the Royal Albert Hall, they issued a best of not long after that, which started the band's second era. And the thing that kicked off the reformation in 2010 was a request from the Teenage Cancer Trust that Suede might consider playing a show at the Royal Albert Hall, and probably I think what the band regard as the highlight of their career, or one of the many highlights of their career, is this particular moment, which is captured here on the front. And you will see that there are actually two different photographs taken by the same person at near enough the same time. The band had just finished playing Metal Mickey at the Royal Albert Hall, and there was an unprompted and unexpected ovation that lasted a very long time indeed. But on the DVD it's about a minute and a half, but it was just utterly unexpected. And it was generally regarded by the band as the moment where they knew, we have to do this again. It's too good not to do this. So that's almost the moment where the band was reborn after the end of their first career. So 2020, COVID, end of the world, not leaving the house, no gigs, no shows. It's all about what can we get in the shops. Now, since reforming, Suede have effectively become two bands, one of which is the industry that's represented by this, and also by this, and this, and this, and this, and also represented by, let's think, there's a this, and I'm sure there's another box set somewhere that I can't find right now. There's a 7-inch singles box set, which is it's at my feet, and by this. So that's one part of Suede's existence, which is a band that has become, very, very good at repackaging and reselling and marketing its previous work. And it's there's also the other side of the band, which has become a valid and important creative entity again. I think Suede are probably the only band that have really done a reformation correctly, if I can say it so boldly. Is that they picked up creatively exactly where they left off, but better, more mature, more experienced. And the albums that they've made since they reformed are at least as good as the albums that they made before they split in 2003. This, however, is a career-spanning release which will go through the 26 years of their recorded history, now that the band are actually 30 years into their existence, and sums up all periods of their career. Just to give you an idea of what's on this, we have almost every single in the order of release, not quite in the order of release, as represented by the cassettes on the back there, up to the point where the band had stopped releasing cassettes, which will have been around the era of A New Morning, although they've done a couple since then. I think A New Morning was only released on cassette somewhere like Korea or Thailand or Malaysia. So I've never actually opened this box set before. So I'm going to have a look inside and we'll see what it is. Also, like to point out that there are some editions of the album that come with a signed card, limited to I think 750 of both the CD and the vinyl formats. So let's have a look inside and talk you through what it's like. I think I've now become one of those people that does unboxing videos on YouTube, which was never actually in my career path. But there you are. Also, I should point out, by the way, that if you see this on the front cover, let me just quickly check. If the photograph was bigger, I would be around about here, actually, because we were on Richard's side, probably about 2/3 of the way back, that's actually also that's a lovely story there. I don't know who it is, but they're two people that are looking at each other. They clearly they really like each other. I think there might have been some kissing at some point, but isn't it lovely for that moment to have been captured? So moving on from that, I'm going to open the vinyl box set. Here is the signed card that comes from Amazon, and let's go through and have a tour of the contents. So we're going to open. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 6 vinyl discs here, and on each one you'll see on the front there are lyrics and details, and on the back we have photographs of memorabilia, and I had it a second ago. You can see on there a copy of the official Suede fanzine, the Animal Nitrate 7-inch vinyl, the coming up dog tags. I'll find those in a minute and I'll dangle them in front of you just to prove that I've got them. Where did I put them? Oh, here they are. As you can tell, a very slickly rehearsed stadium show. There, Suede, coming up dog tags, Core Baby. That's really me. I didn't supply any of the memorabilia that's on this, but I know some people I know did. So we've got the various bits and bobs. I remember all of this stuff happening, and I will tell you about how I became a Suede fan shortly. Just to open it up, each one of these vinyl discs contains a white vinyl LP with an image on the front. So that will be, for example, the copy of the debut LP, plus a copy of the My Insatiable One 7-inch flexi disc. I could recreate that label for you right now using this 7-inch flexi disc. This 7-inch flexi disc was given out at the Brixton Academy show on, I think, around the 25th of May 1993, which was recorded and released as the Love and Poison home VHS, later put out on DVD, and more recently in our COVID-stricken times remastered into high definition and published on YouTube, where of course you lose a lot of the high mastering definition. So here we have the first disc. It contains most of the singles in order. It's got the Drowners, Metal Mickey, Animal Nitrate, So Young, Stay Together, the long version at 7 minutes 21 seconds. I'm going to pick that up in a minute. We Are the Pigs, The Wild Ones, New Generation, which has got about 4 choruses, Trash, and making an appearance out of order and sequence, Filmstar. Filmstar was the last single from Coming Up, not the second one. So here's LP2, and again, white vinyl disc, Lazy, The Beautiful Ones, Saturday Night, Electricity, She's in Fashion, side 2, Everything Will Flow, Can't Get Enough. Up to there, then things start to go a little bit astray from the chronology of the band. Obsessions is next, but they released Positivity as a single. Then there's no sign of Attitude, for example. But there is then Barriers, and it starts and ends with You. So side 4, seamlessly changes in the middle of side 4 into the reunion era. Again, on the back we have Coming Up Balloon. We have, I think, is it Head Girl, Head Boy, Head Music, and I think, what is it? Head Boy, Head Fuck. Yeah, those 4 badges. I still have them somewhere. Lost in TV, DVD. I've got that. Suede lighter. Oh, there's a Suede lighter for you. This one has no gas in it. It's completely safe for an idiot like me to manhandle. A video shoot, call for extras. a transparent laminated plastic ticket for the invite-only show that they filmed for the Head Music TV show that they broadcast on Channel 4. I was at that gig. Great gig. Really enjoyed it. Only played stuff at that gig which had been written by Richard or post Bernard's departure from the band. So really felt like it was clearly the band were not necessarily in the shadow of their previous history. Again, going to open up here, some more stuff on the back. I think there's a Bloodsports t-shirt there. Unsurprisingly, got one of those. The He's Dead promo CD. Got one of those. I'll only point out the things I've actually got. I'm never going to point out the things I haven't got, because where's the fun in that? Part of being a record collector is telling everyone, oh, look, all the stuff I've got. Oh, it's so sexy. Well, it isn't. All this stuff is a music delivery device. I love packaging. I love everything that goes with it. But what matters is the music that's in the fucking grooves. Right. So, side 7, I think, of this leans into the oh, hang on, I haven't talked you through what's on LP 3, which is For the Strangers, The Outsiders, which I know is not called The, Wastelands, Life is Golden, and The Invisibles. Side 6 is where a band selection of their favourites, which weren't singles, appears. So we've got To the Birds, My Insatiable One, He's Dead, The Big Time, and then on LP 5, I think it is, possibly more. We've got Pantomime Horse, Sleeping Pills, The Next Life, High Rising. Side 8, My Dark Star, The Living Dead, 2 of the best B-sides ever. Killing of a Flash Boy, Heroin, This Hollywood Life. Dogman Star is very heavily represented in the track listing for these sets. And again, Suede Fan Club membership cards. Oh, I've got one of those. That's not a surprise. Signed photo. Oh, I've got one of those. See you in the next. Yeah, I'll just point out the stuff I've got, which is basically a lot. And there you have it. Disc 5. Sci-Fi Lullabies, if I remember rightly, that's a pack of matchsticks. I've still got those somewhere since I've never smoked. I've never had the need to use Suede matchsticks. We've got a Give Me Head VHS tape. I've got one of those. The B-sides gig VHS, which you could buy by mail order for about 3 minutes. I entered that trip to see Suede live in Iceland. I wasn't successful. I don't hold it against the band. I hold it against my bank account, to be honest. And also, again, white disc. What's on the 2 of Us, The Asphalt World, Still Life. Side 10 has Europe is Our Playground, which is the Sci-Fi Lullabies version, which was re-recorded in 1997. She, By the Sea, He's Gone, Indian Strings, and Oceans. And then the last and 6th vinyl disc featuring Suede condoms. I had those, but I threw them away. The Suede biography, which I mentioned a couple of anecdotes and get in the footnotes for that for. The Manipulation 7-inch there, which I'm going to talk about shortly. A couple of other bits and bobs as we go along. A whole bunch of cassettes, got quite a few of those. And one of the Insatiable ones there. You know who you are. And again, a white LP. Now, the selections that the band have chosen for these, I think I'm going to have to talk through the track listing a little bit. So the singles are presented largely in order, but not necessarily fully faithfully. So we've got the Drowners, we've got Metal Mickey, we've got Animal Nitrate, we've got allegedly what is the long version of Stay Together at 7 minutes 21. Now that version of Stay Together is not the version that was on the 12-inch. It's not the version that's on the original CD single. It's not the version which you may have been hearing for about 20 years. It's edited by about a minute. To be honest, I've never bothered to listen to it. You may think I haven't got anything better to do than listen to Suede music all day long. Sometimes I haven't. But I've never wanted to listen to a shorter version of Stay Together. If I had the choice, I'd listen to a version that was probably about 3 times as long. I may be the only person in the world that actually thinks that. But that long version there of Stay Together is not the long version that was on the 12-inch and the CD single from 1994. And that version there may or may not be the version that's on this CD singles box set. I think maybe that original long mix has now been kind of like quietly written out of history. What we also have though is on here we've got We Are the Pigs, we've got the Wild Ones, and we've got New Generation, but we are missing a single, sort of a single. Technically speaking, it's a double A side, although it did get its own limited release on 10-inch single in 2016, which is Together, which is the first co-write with Richard Oakes, and I think it's a great song, and it is easily good enough to be an A side. I wish it was on here, and I don't think it is. It does kind of make you wonder though, these really expensive big box set releases, who are these people aimed at? Because if you're going to buy the 4 CD version of Suede, if you're going to buy the 6 LP version, and I don't want to tell you how much that costs, that is not cheap. All right, that is not cheap at all. You're not going to be the kind of person that's got a casual passing interest in the band. If that was the kind of person that you are, you would have bought the CD box set that came out in, I think, 2014, which has all the albums in for something like £40. You wouldn't have bought the 4 CD version in 2020. You would be well enough versed in Suede's huge catalogue and body of work to know that there are lots and lots of songs on this release which perhaps maybe aren't quite in the right place chronologically, or there are songs which you could argue could have been included or should have been included that weren't. So to start off with, where is Together on this? I'm a real stickler when it comes to best ofs. I really like having all the singles in the order of release. Of course, some bands don't like doing that because the singles get dreadful as they get older and they run out of ideas. Suede are not that band, okay? They are one of the very few bands that have still retained, their edge, their vitality, and their creativity as they go along. Now, if I was very, very slick, I would have been using my Suede Coming Up mug, but I'm not, because I'm not that slick. Instead, I'm just ranting at you or monologuing, depending on your point of view. I think a monologue is one direction, where you sit on the table, there's the laser, and you go, "Do you expect me to talk?" And I go, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to listen to me talking about Suede albums." Whereas I think a rant is perhaps a little bit more deranged, come to think of it. Generally, your eyes will point in different directions at certain points. You might take to Twitter. You might get banned on Twitter for using rude words. That's where you're ranting, really. A monologue is more a kind of, here's my evil plan. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to rule the world. And I'm going to rule the world by selling you box sets, Mr. Mark. So the singles take a dip out of order here as well. Now, I understand why they've done it, because what they've done is actually they've followed the sequence of singles that's on the order that they appear in the album. So effectively, across this release, you get something like 80% of the Coming Up album, which you probably already own. I think I own 7 copies of it already. In fact, let's quickly take a break out of there. I've got the original CD from 1996. I've got the American version that's got a live EP that comes in it. I've got this version here, which is the 2016 20th anniversary edition. I've got this version here, which is the yellow vinyl double album version from 2016 of Coming Up. I've got this one, which is the HMV exclusive. I think it's a neon pink cover version of the album. I've got the version in the LP box set, which is here, which is again a different colour vinyl. So I've got Suede. I've got the Coming Up album on, I think, every colour of vinyl. That's 4 which have been released. I probably need to get a hobby, or perhaps one that's more socially acceptable than sitting in my house stroking my records. Nonetheless, Coming Up, as presented on this best of, is out of sequence with the order in which the singles were released. Film Star was the fifth single from Coming Up, not the second. And I was at the video shoot for Film Star, which took place at the Ilford Island on I think it was the 6th of June 1997, I think. It was definitely a Saturday. There was about 300 people there. The band played Film Star to a temporary track. I think something like like a temp backing track about 8 times, miming along to the exact studio version. And because Richard had only brought one guitar, they could only play the songs that you could play on that guitar. So they, in between the breaks, the band did play for the people that were there. They played She, they played The Sound of the Streets, they played Metal Mickey. I think they played Another No One. Oh God, what else did they play? I can't remember now. But they played about 6 songs. They even played a little bit of Feel, which is perhaps, it's a B-side for a reason. But it was, you could play it on that guitar, so they played it on that guitar. Richard didn't bring the I think is it the Cherry Red Gibson, so they couldn't play any of the songs that were with the Cherry Red Gibson because he was playing a blue guitar, the name of which I cannot remember because I'm not an equipment geek. Nonetheless, the third single from the album was not Lazy, it was Saturday Night. And so the sequence of the singles is out of order. We then move to head music. So we've got Electricity, She's in Fashion, Everything Will Flow, and Can't Get Enough. And again, that's where things start to dip away from chronology. There was a single called Positivity, which was the first single that was released from the 5th album, A New Morning. And I know damn well that the band know what order the singles were released in. Here's the 7-inch singles box set that was released in 2014 that again collects all the singles in order. It's also available on a CD version, or it was available on CD version. The CD version contains almost all of the B-sides of this. It has an edit of Feel, and it has the 8 bonus tracks that were on the various editions and formats of the Bloodsports album. It also has a DVD. I was present at the filming of 3 of the videos on that DVD. So the first one, which I've already mentioned, is Film Star. The next one we will get to very shortly. So the Suede Singles 7-inch box set presents all the 7-inch singles. Perhaps not quite as you originally remember them. There's a booklet. There's the Drowners, Metal Mickey, Animal Nitrate, So Young, Stay Together, edited version. You couldn't get the 8-minute version on a 7-inch single probably. We Are the Pigs, Wild Ones, New Generation, with Together, although Together's now a B-side, it's not the AA side. Trash. Now the 7-inch of Trash was only released officially, I think, by mail order. The Beautiful Ones, again, I don't think this is the format that the Beautiful Ones came out in, because the Beautiful Ones came out as a double 7-inch with Saturday Night, and the B-sides are the same. The Sound of the Streets, I believe, on this here. Yeah, I'd like to thank you. I couldn't read Purple on Black from that far distance. This is Saturday Night, again with This Time on the B-side, but originally it was released as a double 7-inch, so with the Beautiful Ones on the gatefold there. This is Lazy, backed with Sadie. This is Film Star, backed with Graffiti Women, I think it is. Film Star had the first demo recording on the original 7-inch single, so they've changed the B-side on the 7-inch for this box set. This is Electricity, backed with Implement Yeah. That wasn't a 7-inch before. This is She's in Fashion, backed with God's Gift, and I think that's the only appearance of God's Gift on vinyl. We've got Everything Will Flow, backed with Leaving. Can't Get Enough, backed with Let Go. I've been a little cheeky here. This doesn't belong in the box set. You have to buy it separately on Record Store Day. This is the 7-inch single for Let Go. I think it was only officially released in Sweden or Denmark. And it's backed with Heroin, which wasn't the B-side at the time. Heroin was released in 2003. We have Positivity. Now, Positivity is the first of the singles, which I don't think appears on the best of. It's debatable as to whether it's a good song. I like it. It was very popular, I think, in Thailand. I think it was a #1 in Denmark. It should be on the best of. I know the band have practically disowned the A New Morning album. I understand the reasons behind it, but I'm not one for that. I think it should be on the best of. It was a single. It should be represented on there. The B-side of it is Simon, which was released as a single in its own right, by the way, but only to fan club members. The next one is Obsessions. Now, at this point, by the way, the band were thinking about new and unusual ways to present the music. Now, CD was the dominant format in 2002. And so, the ideas that they had around this, which is now does not look so great and has not dated particularly well, was to have Peter Saville artwork, but to represent, almost a picture of the CD on the inside. I think the original idea, by the way, for the New Morning album was to have a transparent sleeve with printing on it, so you could see the CD inside the box. Not just a version with a sticker on like the Kanye album, but a version that you could see through, and for the text and the information to be almost on a separate booklet that was covered by the shape of the CD on the inside. But that turned out to be staggeringly expensive. Staggeringly expensive has not necessarily stopped Suede, by the way. The recording of the New Morning album took, I think, 2 years, 7 studios, 4 producers, about £1 million. It sold 21,500 copies in the first 3 months. So every copy of A New Morning cost something like £45.57 at least in recording costs at that point. This is Attitude. It's the only vinyl release of Attitude that exists. So this song has never been on compilation. It's never been on a reissue. Frankly, it should be on here, and it isn't. It should be on the best of. The only song that's represented from A New Morning is Obsessions, and I don't think A New Morning gets enough love. This is the 7-inch single for Barriers. There was a different 7-inch single for Barriers that was released on Record Store Day in 2013. This is it. Barriers on 2013 was backed with Animal Nitrate. Here it is backed with Falling Planes, which the band played, I think, live once or twice maybe at a show in Russia in 2011. First 7-inch appearance for It Starts and Ends With You on the box set. It Starts and Ends With You was the first comeback single from Bloodsports. It's a Suede classic. If you like Suede, it is ultra Suede, and it sounds like Suede have just kept writing songs for the previous 10 years, and this is the best one that's come out. Sometimes you listen to bands and you go, is that the best you could do after 5, 6, 10 years? Of course, the other way around that is to never release any new music, which is the approach that the Sisters of Mercy and Kraftwerk have taken. But It Starts and Ends With You sounds like a classic Suede single. Maybe the world has changed a little in that 10 years in between classic Suede singles, but the band had just grown up a little. Here's Hit Me, which is not on this album, and again, it was a single. It was a 7-inch single. It was a download, as much as a download can be a single these days. It should be on the album. It's a hit. I know they haven't played it since, I think, the Ace Hotel show in January 2016. I'm not sure why, because I think it's a really good song. And it was, again, double 7-inch. Here was originally released in 2013 with Hit Me and with Human Tide, and For the Strangers and Darkest Days on this. So it did come out. But what we do have is there are still a couple of songs from the Bloodsports period that have both never been released on vinyl and never been released on an album. For example, For the Strangers, the 7-inch there still has Darkest Days on it, and that's the 24 singles that are in the 7-inch singles box set that came out in 2014. So you would have thought the best of would contain those 24 singles in order, and the extra singles which had been released. But as we know, singles don't really exist anymore. You can't buy well, I mean, you can barely buy actual physical singles unless it's a 7-inch or a 12-inch, of which there are very limited numbers. They don't do. I think the last time I saw a CD single was something like 2009. Top of the Pops got cancelled 15 years ago. I know I'm talking like an old man who's yelling at clouds about things, but the concept of a single still exists. The concept of great songs from an album still exists. But these days, those great songs have been converted into songs that get uploaded onto YouTube before the album comes out, and songs that the band play live a fair bit. And the world of maybe having hits is been and gone for people. In many ways, it's all, I don't know, streaming and stuff. So whilst I'm kind of yelling about the state of the universe and moaning about how things aren't as good as they used to be, be really honest, things are much, much better now than they used to be. I wouldn't go back 20, 25 years at all if I had the choice, I spent all my life working to get to be where I am today and who I want to be, and frankly enjoying the hell out of the journey. Most of it, certainly in the past 15 years, it's been mostly really, really good. The good has certainly far outweighed the bad. So we've got the second part of the set, or the two CDs that are on here, CDs 3 and 4, which are almost exclusively album tracks. I think the last B-side that appears is Europe Is Our Playground, which is track 1 on CD 4. It's then followed with 14 songs that, if you have been buying the albums, you already know those songs. If you bought every studio album when it was released, you already have those 14 songs. And it does make me wonder who this is aimed at. Who do Suede expect by these things? Surely it would be give people some reasons to buy the really big fancy box sets. So of the reissues, by the way, and this is why I'm mentioning it, is that sure, I bought the 25th anniversary edition of Suede with the 5 discs. I bought the version of Coming Up with 5 discs. I bought the 5 disc version of Head Music. I didn't buy the fancy schmancy box set of Dogman Star because the only stuff I hadn't heard on it or hadn't seen on it before was, I think, an interview with Matt, Brett and Ed Bueller, and an interview with Brett and Bernard. But there's already an interview with Brett and Bernard on the 2011 reissue. And then there's 3 TV appearances of Stay Together from, I think, Top of the Pops and some other TV show. And so therefore, what I'm effectively being asked to buy for in the Dogman Star set was 2 interviews and 3 TV appearances for £90. No, I've got better things to do with my £90 than that. All this packaging is a music delivery system, and you need to give the people that are your target market reasons to buy it. There's no shortage of music that I love. There's no shortage of things that I want to spend my money on. You have to put some sugar in there. You have to put something which hasn't been released previously or is rare and hard to find on these releases to make us really feel like we're getting our money's worth for them. So you've got a 6-disc vinyl box set. You've got a 4 CD set. All the singles, yeah, totally get it, absolutely great. And then the other 2 CDs are all songs that I already own multiple times. So To the Birds alone, I own on a 7-inch single. I own it on here. There's a double disc version of Suede, which I've got it on. There's all manner of different versions of To the Birds, which I already own. I probably owned To the Birds 8 times. So on those third and 4th discs, maybe it should be think about well let's give people that are like the band something new that they haven't necessarily heard. So although we've got tracks off all of the comeback albums, although it's not really a comeback now, it's more of a second life. The only place that you can get songs like What Violet Says and Howl these days is to buy a download. You can't physically buy those songs. There are 8 extra songs that were on the Bloodsports release. I don't want to tell you how many times I bought Bloodsports, but that did go into the charts for a reason. Probably because, hang on, I'm just scrolling through my various releases. Probably because in order to get all the tracks, you had to buy this version of it, which came with a 7-inch single, which had, I think, Dawn Chorus and No Holding Back on it. as well as a CD here and a book and the vinyl edition of the album, but also you had to buy the Japanese CD DVD to get 2 extra songs as well, and there were still songs that you could only get on either in a physical form, either on the 7-inch box set or on the the Japanese CD stroke DVD version that had 2 extra tracks and had a DVD with an interview and 3 other songs on. It feels a little bit like a missed opportunity here. There's a number of B-sides from the Head Music era that have never been released on vinyl, and I'm just going to quickly kind of just look through that. So I don't think Popstar's been on vinyl. I don't think Killer has. Let me just quickly check with the, and this is the 3-disc version of it that was released in 2019 on various coloured vinyls. So for example, if you hadn't bought the reissues in 2011 and you're going, oh, I quite fancy buying the Suede album, the new 4-disc version. Now, do you think that somebody that was going to buy the 4-disc version would be swayed by Indian Strings as track 5 on CD4? Now, it's a great song. I love that song. Love it when they play live, but I've got it on Head Music. I've got it on the 2011 reissue of Head Music. I've got it on the vinyl edition of Head Music. I've got it in the box set of all the studio albums version of Head Music. I've got it on the 5-disc version here. I've got Indian Strings about 6 times already. I haven't got Popstar on vinyl. I'd quite like to have Popstar on vinyl. I'd quite like to have, Weight of the World. Bored. What a great song Bored is, by the way. Now, I know Bored is on this vinyl edition, but this is the 3-disc version. And you could have had, for example, there's a cover version of Neil Young's Birds that they performed on IDF Radio. That could have been on there. There's a huge amount of extra songs which have never been released on vinyl, which frankly should be on this box set instead of She, By the Sea, He's Gone, all songs that have already been purchased many, many times over. And there's also an opportunity, I think, on there to have released maybe a disc of radio sessions. You could take all the BBC radio sessions. There was a Canadian 2002 promo of radio sessions which you could have put on here. There was the XFM release of radio sessions from 2003 that could have been on here. There was the Day Trotter sessions in 2013 that were released that again are now only available on download and maybe not even available at all. There was the Fan Club release in 2000 of 8 radio sessions, which again could have really, you could have looked at that and went, oh, so that you if I already go, well, I'm not going to buy this because I own every song that's already on it. Now, if you'd looked at CD3 and went, oh, that's full of radio sessions and it's got a previously unreleased song, Birds, a cover version of Neil Young, which I don't think has been released on anything else, you could have gone, I think I'll buy that. I want to hear that song. But that's not an option that you've got here. Again, CD4, there's you could have taken some of the 8 songs which were only on the various many versions of Bloodsports, and you could have put them on there. There's a couple of alternate mixes. There's also on the Blue Hour, which by the way is an amazing record. There's a song that's only on the 7-inch box set, which is this one. It's called Manipulation. Putting it technically, it's a banger, great song. Doesn't fit in with the Blue Hour at all, but really fits in with that, and that would have been just a lovely bit of making a song that is been not necessarily heard as much as it should be heard, and to bring that song out and to let people hear it more commonly. And Suede, no strangers to releasing multitudes of box sets. This is the hang on a minute, I've just put an extra bit of memorabilia in here. So these are some signed photos and bits and bobs that weren't in the original release. That was from the I think that's from the Wild Ones 12-inch. But again, this is the 2016 box set that contains coloured vinyl versions of Suede, Dogman Star, Coming Up, Head Music, A New Morning, Bloodsports, Night Thoughts, and conveniently just enough space to slot in a copy of the Blue Hour if that's what you want to do. Now, I think I'm going to have to sum up here, but I'm going to come back to Suede at some point. I'm going to talk about individual albums. I'm going to talk about my experiences with individual albums, where my life was at that point, and what I'm going to, and how that song soundtracked my growing old. Maybe not growing up, but growing old. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to conclude, actually, because I should be reviewing this, and I ended up reviewing absolutely everything. As an introduction to Suede, I'm not entirely satisfied with it. It's missing out a number of key tracks. It's missing out Positivity. It's missing out on Attitude. It's missing Love the Way You Love. It's missing out some of what I think are the best songs from the second period of the band. So the second CD has 12 songs on it. There are extra singles that the band have released. So, for example, What I'm Trying to Tell You is not on here. Hit Me is not on here. Barriers is not on here. And CD4 and CD3, I really wish that they'd taken a better selection of rare songs. So they would have put songs that hadn't been previously available on vinyl on there. As I said, the cover version of Birds. There's beautiful version of The Fur and the Feathers from Virgin Radio in 2015 that's easily amongst the best things they've ever done. It should be on here. But I don't get to make the decisions about these. The only decisions we get to make are, do we buy them or do we not buy them? And to be honest, I bought it because that's what I do. And I'm going to wrap up here. It's a really great, lovely introductory package. It's very well presented. I'm mildly narked by the absence of the full-length version of Stay Together, but I've still got that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up here. I'm going to see you in another episode, and thank you for bothering to listen to me talk about Suede's Greatest Hits album number 3, and I will join you again. See you in the next life.